Okay, guys, let's start. So, this is June 2011, variant 2. What distinguishes capital from other factors of production? So, what is capital? Capital is the man-made aid to production, and the right answer would be uh, B. Capital results from the operations of other factors, which means that other factors like land, labor, and capital. The other factors, for example, let's say laptop is a capital, and the production of laptop would be from the operation of other factors. That's why B is the right answer. Capital doesn't exist in only market economies, it can exist even in command economy. It's machinery, right? The reward earned by owners of capital are uncertain. No. If somebody gives you a car for a rental, then that won't be uncertain. It's not profit that is a reward for capital. Capital has a reward which is interest that can be earned. Unlike labor or land, capital must be owned. It doesn't really. It's also not true. You can hire capital as well. Machinery can be taken on rent. That's why B is the best answer for this one. Okay. Number 2, what is likely to be greater in a planned economy than in market economy? Well, in a planned economy, there has to be more stability. That is true. Innovation won't happen, flexibility, they're not quick, and there would be inefficiency that can also happen. So, but stability is one factor that could be contributed towards command economy. Innovation basically means more of sort of capital goods, more investment. That won't happen here. Okay, so 2 would be D. What is a normative statement? Normative statement is a value judgment. Which is a normative statement? In this case, unemployment is more harmful than inflation would be a normative statement. Whenever there's a comparison, that's more likely to be a normative statement. So unemployment is more harmful means one is saying that this is more harmful than that, and it's somebody's value judgment. So that's why D is the right answer. Okay.
Why is D the right answer?
It's a value judgment, somebody's opinion. Look at other answer choices. You can prove them right and wrong through data. For example, inflation can be reduced only by increasing the level of unemployment. We can, through data, prove this right or wrong. A reduction in unemployment below a certain level will lead to higher inflation. That could also be possible. This is where you can't really judge which one is more harmful than the other, because both of them can be harmful depending on different conditions. What is consistent with an individual demand curve that slopes down from left to right? Well, if the price falls, a consumer's willingness and ability to will decline. Is that true? No. A price falls, a person switches away from rival towards this product. Yes. When the price goes down, you buy more of this good and less of the substitute. Price goes up, per person will be less sensitive to the. In fact, if you look at demand curve, you're most sensitive here. Your unitary price at PED is equal to 1 here, and you're less sensitive here. PED is elastic in the upper half of the graph. It's unitary here, and so this is not true. Okay. Okay, so A is the right answer. What will cause the demand curve for domestically produced cars to shift to the left? Demand curve is shifting to the left, which means that if imported cars have a reduction in tariff, they will become cheaper, so price of imported cars will fall, and that would make more of these imported cars to be bought and less of the demand for domestic cars. So C is the right answer. An increase in the cost of production of domestically produced cars would be a shift of supply and not a shift of demand, because the cost of production will go up. It's a movement along the demand curve. Got it? The diagram shows the changes in the market for a good. Which diagram represents a change in the quantity demanded? Quantity demanded means movement along the demand curve. Remember, this is movement along the demand curve. So here there's a shift happening. It's a shift of demand curve. Here there's a shift happening. Here there's a movement along the demand curve. Make sense? Quantity demanded would be a movement along the demand curve, so 3 only is the right answer. In A, there's a change in quantity supplied. In B, there's a change in quantities. I mean, there's no change in quantity supplied because supply is fixed. Okay, this is we say this is a rise in demand, while this is a rise in quantity demanded. Okay, so D. This is one is a shift of the demand curve. A shift of the demand curve is change in quantity supplied. Okay. The diagram shows the demand curve for a product with unitary elastic demand curve. We know this, that here the total revenue remains unchanged or expenditure remains unchanged. And that's why C is the right answer. As price rises, expenditure would remain unchanged. 6. Remember in 6, the language is very important. The language says change in quantity demanded, which means it's a movement along the demand curve. Where do you see a movement along the demand curve? Only in 3. This is a rise in demand. This is a rise in demand as well. This is a rise in quantity demanded. Okay. Number 8. In the diagram, D and S are the demand and supply curve for a good. What could cause the supply curve to shift to S1? Supply curve is shifting to the right, cost of production may be going down, and C is the right answer. Fall in the cost of raw material will cause the supply curve to shift to the right. Make sense? Yes? Okay. A refinery which processes oil into petrol is faced with falling conditions. It is working at full capacity. If you work at full capacity, can you increase supply easily? So supply would be inelastic. If your petrol storage tanks are full, can you easily increase supply of petrol? If you have tons of petrol in your storage and somebody asks for petrol, can you increase? If your storage tanks are full, you can easily increase supply. Supply would be elastic. If it has received delivery of new fleet of petrol tankers to transport oil, if you have easy sort of a way to provide petrol, would you be easily able to increase supply? And the answer is yes. So elastic supply. If it requires 6 months, supply would be inelastic. So in other words, the question is asking us which of the conditions will tend to make the supply relatively price inelastic, and the answer would be 1 and 4 or B.
Sir, how is Q elastic?
If I say that you have your petrol storage tanks are full, and somebody comes to you and asks for petrol, you're a supplier. Can you take something from your stocks and give it to him? Why? Let's say if you sell petrol, you're a petrol station, and you have tons of petrol lying to sell. Would you be able to sell it? So that's why your supply would be elastic. Make sense? This is a refinery which is processing oil into petrol. So if its petrol storage tanks are full, it will be easily able to increase supply.
So like anything less than 6 months is elastic. Like
No, 6 months means it's inelastic. 6 months to lagenge, 6 months will.
so if it says 4 months, then
It's inelastic. If you tell me it takes hardly seconds to increase supply, I will be like elastic, not inelastic. Makes sense. So 3 months or 4 months, it doesn't matter. This is a very common question. Can we pay attention? Everyone should know how to solve this question. It comes a lot often. The table gives estimates of price elasticity and cross elasticity of demand for bus and rail travel. Okay, what would be the change in the volume of rail travel from a 1% increase in bus fares? So in other words, they're asking us XCD of rail travel with respect to the price of bus travel. Okay, the way we read this is that how we read this table is this: the bus travel demand with respect to the price of bus travel. So bus and bus would mean this is PED of bus. Bus travel with respect to the price of rail travel, this is PED of, denominator is rail, numerator is bus. So I'm going to write this. In fact, I'm not going to write bus PED. This is actually XCD of your bus travel with respect to the price of rail travel. Okay. Similarly, service is rail travel with respect to the price of bus. This is my XCD of rail travel with respect to the price of bus travel. And similarly, this is my PED of rail travel, because numerator may be rail travel and denominator may be rail. This means I'm looking at price elastic demand. Now they're saying this, that if the bus prices go up by 1%, so the formula is XCD of rail travel is equal to percentage change in quantity over percentage change in price of bus. and they're saying this is going up by 1%. So I'm going to write this 1%, and I'm going to take this value. So 0.16 is equal to X percent over 1%. So change in quantity would be 0.16 times 1% or 0.16%. So an increase of 0.16%. Okay. So the key here is first figure out what value to read, then figure out the percentage change in price and just use the formula. Okay.
So can you do it again?
Yes. So first of all, do we get how do we read the table, or do you have a problem with reading the table?
No, I got it.
Do you got the table? So I'm going to look at rail travel with respect to price of bus travel. I'm looking at 0.16. Percentage change in quantity is what they're asking us. Percentage change in price is 1%. I take this 1% and multiply it 0.16. So I get my percentage change in quantity. The volume of rail travel is changing by 0.16%. If they're asking you what's the XCD of what's the percentage change of quantity for bus travel with respect to the price of rail travel, you would have taken this one. Okay, so it depends on what value they're asking for. Number 11. The diagram shows the demand and supply curve for a good. The government fixes the maximum price OP1. Maximum price is above equilibrium, it won't work. So the equilibrium quantity has to be Q. Okay, easy. Number 12. The global stocks of cod are currently under threat due to overfishing, while there are plentiful supplies. Sorry, 11. Maximum price above equilibrium won't work. Global stocks of cod are currently under threat due to overfishing, while there are plentiful supplies of less popular Alaskan pollock. How might the price mechanism operate to limit the depletion of the fish stock? Now, if global stock of cod are currently under threat, this means supply is low. Okay, and demand is high, which would mean the price of cod will be high. Okay, while there are plentiful supply of the Alaskan pollock, which means supply is high, so the price will be low.
Sir, if it's in overfishing, so doesn't that mean supply is high?
No, overfishing means you are eating up the supplies quickly. Demand is more than supply. Okay, so the price of this cod will rise because of overfishing and shortages. This will rise, while the price of Alaskan pollock, because of the plentiful supply, will fall. So D is the right answer. Got it?
So why would it fall for last?
Because this plentiful supply, things which are in surplus or things which have less scarcity, price will be low. Things which are rare or things which are in less supply or high demand, the price will be high. Number 13, let's skip that. This is private cost and external cost market failure question. Number 14, I'm going to skip it as well. Although we can do this, the consumption of a good generates external benefit, which means positive externality. Positive externality would mean the demand should be more than what is out there. So A is the better answer. Okay, but now it's not in our syllabus anymore. 15, I'm skipping it, cost benefit analysis. This we can do because this is part of our syllabus, which is categorization of good. What is the distinguishing feature of a public good that is not found with private good? Public goods are non-rival, non-excludable, which means consumption by one person will not restrict other persons. So non-rival and non-excludable. Okay. This is another popular question, so let's look at how it is done. In the diagram, S and S1 are the supply curves in the different years. D is the demand curve in year 1 and year 2. In year 1, the government purchased an amount necessary to ensure that the price is OP. So year 1 में आपने कितना खरीदा था? Because this is your supply, you must have bought W to Y. If you want to make sure that the price remains P, the demand is here, the supply is here, so this is the amount of what we call the surplus. In the next year, they made sure the price is again OP. But now supply is at point B while demand is at point A. Make sense? So they're asking how much more must the government buy? If they already bought A to, let's call it X, they need to buy X to B. How much more? X to B, which would mean Y to Z. Sometimes they ask you how much should the government buy? The answer would be W to Z. How much more should the government buy as compared to last year? This much. In this question, they're asking how much more you should buy as compared to last year. So Y to Z. Look at the horizontal distance on the particular price. Okay. Each diagram shows the production possibility of two economies, X and Y, which produce food and clothing. In which diagram would both economies benefit by specializing in the good in which they have a comparative advantage at an exchange rate of 1 is to 1.5. So my exchange rate is what? 1C is equal to 1.5 F. Now the rule is this, that this exchange rate should lie between the two opportunity costs. So if you look at this, I'm going to cancel this anyways. The trade won't happen because the PPC are completely parallel. This one says 1C is equal to 3F, while 2C is equal to 4F, or 1C is equal to 2F. So it won't fall in this range because 1C is equal to 1.5 is below this. So this can't be the answer. This can't be the right answer. This is the right answer. Let's see why. Either for country X, it's 2C is equal to 4F, or 1C is equal to 1F. I'm sorry, 1C is equal to 2F, right? For country Y, it's 1C is equal to, because 5C is equal to 5F, or 1C is equal to 1F, right? So can I say this, between 1C is equal to 1F and 1C is equal to 2F, you would have 1C is equal to 1.5F. So C is the right answer. Okay? If the trade has to happen and both countries are happy about it, it has to happen in between the two opportunity costs. The exchange rate has to be in between the two opportunity costs. Okay, number 19. An argument against trade protection is that it will increase, against trade protection is this, that it will increase domestic price level. Why? Because you will put tariffs and quotas, price of imports will go up, and inflation can go up if key raw materials are now expensive. This will not happen because you protect industries which are infant. You want to make the current account deficit improve. You want to reduce competition. Will it increase competition for domestic industries? It will? It will decrease competition. Exactly.
But what about current account deficit?
It will increase current account against कह रहे हैं. If they're saying against trade protection, it's this, that it will increase the current account deficit. No, it decreases the current account deficit. It improves the current account deficit. Current account deficit is a negative number. It won't become bigger negative.
If we're restricting
So what is it?
When you have one of the arguments against trade protection is that it will increase the domestic price level because imports will become expensive, and if they are key inputs, they become expensive. You can cause cost push inflation.
Instead, C is wrong because it's an advantage, right?
Yes. Okay. A country's terms of trade stands at 150, so I'm going to write 150 is equal to PX over PM times 100. Okay. Export prices are going up by 20%, so I'm going to write 150 is equal to 100 plus 20 is 120 over PM times 100. So PM is going to be 120 over 150 times 100, which is going to be, anyone with a calculator? What's this value equal to? The value is equal to 80, which means it's going down by 20. From 100 it's going to 80, which means minus 20. Okay, the key thing is to remember to subtract it by 100. Okay. A government wishes to present its final balance payment account. It has calculated the current account balance, capital account balance, and financial account balance. What additional information is required to complete the task? You need to know your net errors and omissions in order to present it, because that's your accounting errors and all that. Okay, and that will lead to your balance account. Okay, this is again something which we just did. The table shows inflation rates, unemployment rates, and changes in money wage rates, and we can find out basically your real wage. Money wage rate minus inflation will give you your real wage. Okay, and let's look at each answer choice. On average, those in employment in the UK had an increase in real income. So money income is plus 2.5 minus 1.8. My real income is how much?
0.7.
A positive 0.7,
Yes.
which means my real income is going up. So A is the right answer. Okay, real income is money wage rate minus inflation rate. The diagram compares the inflation rates of Paraguay and Argentina between 1950 and 2005. So that's 1950 and 2005. Paraguay is this line, and Argentina is the shaded region. Let's look at the choices. Argentina prices fell rapidly between 92 and 95. 92 and 95. Are the prices falling? Why? Because the inflation rate is still positive. So wrong. Argentina stabilized the prices between 1973 and 92. 1973 and no, this was crazy. No, that's not true. Paraguay was always more successful than Argentina. No, Paraguay was not successful in this part. So Paraguay was more successful controlling its inflation between 1962 is this part, and 70. Yes, that's one bit which where they were successful. So D is the right answer. Over a period, the annual rate of inflation falls from 10%. Inflation is positive, but it's falling. This means this is called disinflation. Are the prices going up? Yes. So this is not true. Standard of living is not a concern for inflation. Purchasing power is going up. No, when the price level goes up, value of money goes down. Value of money is 1 over price level. So price level goes up, value of money goes down. So the purchasing power is not increasing but decreasing. The cost of living or inflation is going up. Prices are rising but slowly, which means inflation is happening. B is value of money. Purchasing power is inversely related to price level. When your price level goes up, purchasing power or value of money goes down. So prices are still rising. If this was a minus 2%, then I would have said prices are going down, but prices are rising but slowly.
Sir, explain C.
Retail price index is, if price level goes up, retail price index goes up. What you guys confused about is this, that if I say the inflation rate is 10% and it now goes to 6%, which means prices are rising but rising at now 6%. It's like your car is going, previously it was going at a rate of let's say 100. Now it's going at a rate of 60. Is the car going to the going in front or going backward? So, but it's going in front slowly.
Sir, but you told us that method 10 minus 6 divided by 6, we get this value. So it was a negative.
No, this is basically, if this was 110 and this was 106, for example, that would have been a,
U minus 4
yes, but this is a rate. This means if this was 110, then for example, this would be like 116. So the rate would be 116 minus 110 over 110. It won't be 6%, but somewhere close to like
negative value. So
positive value. If this was new, you're confusing. This is a rate. This is a value of index. If this was a value of index, then I would have said yes. Okay, this is a rate, which means it's like from 100, the value must have gone to 110, and this is why this is 10%. From 110, the value must be, for example, I don't know, 117. So that's why the change would be 7 over 110, which would be roughly 6%. Okay, I don't know the exact value, but this means the prices are still rising, but they're rising slowly. Okay, so there's a difference between percentage, which is inflation rate, and index value.
So if it was a negative value, like if it was -6%, then
Yeah, so I would have said K 104. I mean, I don't know.
so then there would be a reduction in that.
Yes, if this was that, if this 110 to 104, this would have been -6%. This means prices are going down, which means value of money is going up, which means rate of inflation is negative. Okay. A Japanese company builds a factory in the UK to supply both the UK market and the market in the rest of Europe. What is likely to be the long run impact on the UK balance of trade? Now, because this factory is made in the UK, this would be counted as UK exports. Okay, so balance of trade would improve.
So won't it worsen because
No.
they're taking over their trade because they'll be supplying European markets as well, right? UK.
So UK की export will go up. UK's, this is UK's perspective. UK balance of trade would go up. But UK's current account balance would be uncertain. Why? The reason why it will be uncertain is because when they will be selling, this exports will result in some money which will go into Japan's income section will go in positive, but UK's income section will go negative. So there could be an uncertain here. Japanese are making these goods, they will get the profits which will be repatriated. Where will it be repatriated from? The income section of the current account. So that's why uncertain would come here. But remember this, Japanese factory in the UK selling it also to the rest of the world would mean UK's export will go up. All the factories which are in China, which are of foreign companies, that's China's exports. Make sense? That's not, let's say, Fisher Price would not be Fisher Price factory in China would not be it would not be UK's export. Okay, so that's something which you need to understand. So B is the right answer. A country experiences a change in the value of exports and imports of goods and services and its inflows of incomes and transfers. See, they are shown in the table. Which set of changes is most likely to cause depreciation? So you want the exchange rate to go down. So export value should fall. Because if the export value go up, your country's demand will go up. You want the demand to fall. Import value should go up. Because when the import value go up, supply of the currency will go up. Isn't that true? And the net incomes should also fall. Because whenever money comes in, your exchange rate goes up. Whenever money goes out, your exchange rate goes down. So that's why B is the best answer. Make sense? Export fall, demand fall. Demand fall, exchange rate fall. Import rises, supply rises, supply rises, exchange rate would actually fall again. And any outflow should result in exchange rate to fall. So B. What is likely to happen if there is a rise in international value of a country's currency? If your exchange rate goes up, exports become expensive, imports become cheaper. So fall in the foreign currency price of exports? No. A rise in the export prices. A fall in the volume of exports? Yes, because when the price goes up, the quantity goes down. Okay, value we don't know because value depends on elasticity, but quantity we know quantity will fall. Okay, number 28, the table shows the observation of the exchange rate of an economy current account balance. This is basically your exchange rate went from 2 to 1.5, which means you devalue your currency, and look at your current account balance. It was a negative, went worse, and then in the later years start to improve. In other words, J curve is happening. You devalue from 2 to 1.5. So initially it got worsened. From -3 it went to -5, and then it started to improve. Which means C, the J curve effect is happening. Number 29. The diagram shows the exchange rate for UK pound in terms of US dollar. The original equilibrium is at point E. What will be the new exchange rate of the UK pound following a reduction in UK interest rates? If the UK interest rates are going down and US interest rates going up, interest rates are going down, hot money flows out, which means demand should fall and supply should rise. So if you're at E, demand falls and supply rises, you go to D1 and S1, which means C is the right answer. Why would demand fall? Because a lot of your foreign individuals will take the money away from the UK. Similarly, supply would rise because domestic individuals will also decide to invest abroad.
They'll sell their currency and buy
Yeah, they will probably put the money away from somewhere else. Okay, the diagram shows the production possibility curve of economies X and Y. Both countries have an identical opportunity cost, and the answer is no. If there was identical opportunity cost, then this would have been parallel. Both economies have the same future growth prospects. That's really hard to say from the information. The opportunity costs are constant. Yes. Why? Because the PPC is linear. If the PPC is linear, the opportunity cost is constant. If the PPC is concave to the origin, the opportunity cost is rising. So C is the right answer. 27.